Turn up dance instructor, mental health advocate, Jaye Turner.
Hi everybody, so happy to be here, so happy to be a part of this, so happy to have this conversation with Josue.
Appreciate you coming out, really. I know it's early. It's
all good. I thrive in the morning.
Do you? Mm-hmm. I wish I could be you. That's not me.
I thrive in the morning, energy.
Up? Mm-hmm. How do you do that? Coffee?
I do enjoy coffee, but I think it's just, I don't know, I've studied that about myself. Where I thrive the best, where I operate the best, and I feel like if I wait, until into the day to get after the stuff that I'm trying to do, it's just not the same.
I've noticed that I've had good mornings where I get stuff done, but overall I can't get it done.
I think what I've realized about myself is that when I set the tone for the day, that's how I operate at a high energy through the rest of the day. So when I do the things that make me feel good, then I flow into the day in a way that just makes me feel good throughout the whole day. And I'm just consistent with that.
What's your wake-up routine then?
Morning routine is something that I play around with a lot. I am the opposite of somebody who is afraid of change. I feel like I thrive in change. And if I stay stagnant in something for too long, it stops working for me and I have to switch it up at least a little bit. So for me, right now, it is getting up, having my coffee just already ready. I sit in bed for a little bit and I kind of just plan out the goals for that day. I'm not somebody who can think too far ahead. I have to operate just one day at a time because none of my days look the same often. If I'm working in the day, then that's one thing. If I'm teaching class during the day, that's one thing. If I'm going up to see my mom recently had a stroke back in November, so I spend days at the hospital with her, working from there. So if it's my day to go hang out with her, then that looks different. So I set my day up literally on paper. This is the stuff I want to get done. I really try to start drinking water right when I wake up because I feel personally I just operate and feel good with a certain amount of water in my body each day. So I really try to get at that right away, or else I know that I will fall back on it. And I just try to keep it real basic with that. As it's getting nicer outside, sometimes I'll try to take my dog out for a 10-minute walk and just be grateful for the sun, be grateful for the day and for being here and for being alive and having a cute dog that loves to walk with me.
Yeah.
But that's not every day. Like I said, it depends on what the day looks like. But I set it up on paper. This is the stuff I'm getting after today. And then I just get up and go for it.
So plan the day, appreciate whatever weather's outside, and walk the dogs.
If I can, yeah. If I have time, depending on what I'm getting at right away in the morning, if I have time for that. But yeah. Okay,
no, I like that. I see why you get stuff done.
Keeping it simple. I have to keep it super simple though, because if I overwhelm myself, then it just becomes a.
So too many tasks to do. Ruins the day. Ruins the day.
Not ruins the day. I'll get in my head if I miss something, and that's something that I'm working on personally, not beating myself up for what I didn't do and appreciating myself for what I did do. But that can be a battle. So if I throw too many things at myself at once, I'll be like, oh, you didn't do this, and then I dwell on it. But if I just keep it simple with things that make me feel good, fuel my body, fuel my brain in a way that sets me up for success right off rip, I feel like that I carry that through the day.
Okay. So talking about getting that workout and getting some exercise and being a turn-up instructor, let's go back a little bit before that. How and when did you find turn-up dancing?
I found turn-up online on Instagram. The CEO of Turn-Up Dance Fitness, her name's Tansy, she was in my school district. I knew of her, through my teenage years and stuff like that. She played AAU basketball. I played AAU basketball. So I knew who she and her sister both were. They were just killers in the AAU game. So everybody kind of knew who they were. And I had been contemplating and taking action a bit, just with a little Planet Fitness membership and stuff like that, and going to Planet Fitness, thinking I was doing something, but really it wasn't working for me, and it was something that I didn't want to do it, but I was just I need to be getting some kind of movement in. At the time I was working a little dead-end job that I had been working for a really long time. just to make ends meet while I was going to school for mental health and social work. And I just wanted to be adding in some kind of movement. So one of my coworker friends was like, you know, do you remember this girl? Like, look at her on Instagram. She created this whole brand. Like, it looks dope. It looks fun. They have like in-person classes, but they have stuff online. And I was like, oh man, that does look so fun. Like, I don't have like a huge dance background or anything like that, but I've always had like a little sauce, you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, you know, I could try that and see if I liked it and whatever. So I watched her for a minute, like a couple months. I was like, oh, you know, if I notice a class in my area or something, I'll pull up. But until then, I'm just gonna sit here and watch. And then finally I took the plunge. I seen they had like a $5 trial for their online stuff. And I was like, why not? It's $5. I'll try. You get a week of workouts for $5. So I was like, let me try this. So I did one workout in my little living room, like family coming in and out of the living room, just watching me do it. And I think it was Beyonce Takeover was the name of the workout. And I ate it up. Like I ate it. I was in the living room like, I am so good at this. Like I had never done it before, but I was like, I don't know how I followed this so well. Like I wasn't expecting to feel that good at it, but immediately, like I was already sold. Before the week was even over, I had already bought a month of being a part of whatever this was online.
So you went from a week to 4.
I went to a week where, and I think it was like, at the time it was like $20 a month to be, and I was like, I love this. Like, this is so fun. Like, why not? It's something I can do from home. Well, I didn't know that it came with so much more. Like, there's a whole online community, Facebook group of people in general, you know, mostly women at the time, but we do have some men and stuff like that now. People of all genders, like different backgrounds, ethnicities, everything. It's dope. And it's just people, we're worldwide at this point. And it was just cool. Like all of a sudden I started building these relationships with people that I had never met in person, but they were all just trying to do their best day to day. And I was like, this is cool. So I started going to in-person classes. I ended up connecting more with Tansy and us becoming really good friends. And I put myself out there, like, you know, if you ever need backup person for lives and stuff like that, like I would love to be your girl. Like, hit me up. I would love to show up for those. She did. She took me up on it. I started doing the backups for the online workouts for the whole squad throughout the nation and stuff like that. And that was cool. And I did that for a couple years. Like a lot of my friends were instructors in their own cities and areas all over the nation and stuff, but I didn't really feel pulled to have to do that because I was already working so closely knit with her and just had so many classes in Michigan that I could go to. I didn't feel it necessary to become an instructor myself until that wasn't so promised. And she began to think about moving different states and stuff like that, and it wasn't so promised for me to always be closely knit like that. So I was like, if I want this in a way that builds the community that I want, I have to take action and set myself up to do that. So I got certified to become an instructor. I wasn't sure right away if I was gonna have a class, but I ended up just hitting up this girl who I used to go to her gym. She managed this retro in Pontiac, and I knew her, and she had opened up a little group fitness and events place right by me, 3 minutes down the street, and she was looking for dance fitness instructors. And I was like, bro, like, I was like, why not, dude? It's like I just got certified. It's 3 minutes from my house. Like, what would one day a week hurt for me to just start playing around with this and see what happens? And I just could not stop. I could not stop. And I've been doing it ever since. I love it so much. And my life just wouldn't be the same if I hadn't taken that risk on myself, I think. You to just let them come in, do their little thing. And you have to find ways to play around with that, pick up on their social cues and stuff like that. But you get a feel for the people who are like, no, I want more. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. Like, I feel funny in my own skin. I feel scared to let myself go. You know, I've been beat down mentally my whole life by people making me feel like I shouldn't be able to do this or move this way or look like this or feel good about myself and stuff like that. And those are the people who want it. They're just scared to grab it. And you have to be that person who just sees them. You have to be that person who sees them, but you have to do it in a way that is not me talking to them verbally in the middle of a class where we're dancing. So you have to find that way to connect with them on that level while you're dancing. That lets them start to open up. And it might take a long time. It might take one class, and the next class they're in the front row. But it just depends on the person. And I think you just have to be like, I see you, without saying I see you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
So what does that look like in dance? Is that like, all right, you get a solo for like maybe a few seconds? Is that like how that works?
I think for me, the way that I would initially play around with that with somebody just to kind of test out where they're at would be me just coming off the stage and just dancing with them for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, make them feel
and then
included.
walking away where they're like, okay, like that was cool. Or I'm on stage and I point them out like, you just killed that move. And I'll just stop like, I see you. And they're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just 2 seconds of like, wow, dude, like I want to come again. That was so cool. Like that was so fun. And then you keep doing that with that person until they, you know what I mean? And then maybe next time they bring a friend and it makes them feel a little more safe or not. They just keep coming because you made them feel so good in that 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times that's why we go to these third home or like third place events where we just want to feel good about ourselves. Like there's no negativity. We're all just doing the same thing, trying to feel the same thing, which is happiness and whatever not what the world is.
Yeah. I think that it can be tough too to walk into a dance fitness class specifically that you've never been to, because for some reason we always have this mindset that like everyone's watching me.
Yeah.
We have this anxiety like everybody's just going to be watching me. But really, nobody's there to watch you. Everybody's just there to move their body for 1 hour and do something for themselves that they leave and set the tone for the rest of their night or the rest of their week or their weekend or whatever. And they are really just focused on, themselves. But for some reason, we get so in our heads like, oh my gosh, like what if I can't catch on? What if I don't realize the moves? No one's paying attention to that.
I would be scared. I can't dance. I'd be like, I can't do this.
The instructor should be paying attention to that in a way that they can instruct and help you if you're not catching on. Like, okay, let me slow down. Let me break it down. Let me stop the music for 2 seconds. If I'm doing something with a little bit of a heavier footwork, let me stop the music for 2 seconds and just slowly go over it. And then pick back up. Not usually something we have to do. I feel like turn up specifically, like we cue in a way that's like, okay, that's what's up. And if I'll tell you in the beginning of class, if you lose yourself for a second, when in doubt, twerk it out. When in doubt, squat it out, whatever. Just have fun with it, and then you can meet me where you find it. But also meeting those people where you're at, like, okay, I can see that so I move myself to position myself so I'm right in front of you for a second. Help you pick up on that, but ain't nobody watching you but me.
Yeah.
And I make it a point to say that too, to let you feel like, okay. I probably am in my head about that. Like nobody's just staring at me the whole class, or else they wouldn't be here doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
No, I got that. That's nice.
I think you would kill it in class.
I have terrible knees and ankles. I would.
Ain't nobody said you had to come in here with no meg knees. You just have to show up. Just show, like I said, when in doubt, even if you're just staying up top, I doubt that you cannot do that.
I'm not saying I can't. I'm just saying. If I see you on stage do like a little like crossover step, like I'm falling.
No.
I'm tumbling.
No. I'll be there to catch you. That's the whole point of turn up. That's the whole point. You're empowered to fall and then get back up, fail forward, and then keep doing it and keep doing it. Like that's the whole point.
But
perfect example. You guys heard it here. Josue's coming to class.
I'm coming to class.
Next turn up instructor.
I can't be this. I would lead those poor students to failure. I cannot dance. Man, that's funny though. I appreciate you. Anyone who's willing to sit there and teach you, I truly respect and admire, because that's a lot of patience.
It's just, I think it's so fulfilling. I think leading in a way that makes people physically feel good, and then they realize later on, like, okay, this is actually really affecting me mentally and emotionally and spiritually in a positive way. It's not just about the physical movement. It's not just about the dance. And that was what I was going after for so long and not realizing it in terms of like wellness. Like, what do I want? Like, because nothing is feeling right. And I always was so stuck on like, you have to pick something and that's what you have to roll with. And kind of tying into what I said earlier about me thriving on change, like I am constantly switching it up. And I mean that in career-wise too. So I finally found a way to work in the mental health field that I love. I love it so much. And I'm also doing fitness right now, and they're running parallel. But I'm also working towards letting those cross too, in a way that it's all one for me. I fully plan on some point bringing turn up and fitness to Common Ground where I work, and having my own something program through that to where it finally really meshes. And I think that it's already meshing for me in a way that's working right now, but I'm still pushing myself to keep making changes and figure out what works and what doesn't. And it's dope. It's been so fulfilling. And I finally am at a point in my life where I just wake up and I'm like, I'm out here putting in the light in a world that can be so dark. Like, I am doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
And I love that for me.
We love that for you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Of course. No, but man, I mean, waking up with a purpose, as Dr. Joe Johnson says, you gotta know your purpose.
Dr. Joe Johnson, give it up for this man.
We love Dr. Joe Johnson over here.
We do.
Great guy. Neil, yeah, he talks a lot about purpose and just how you explained it. Like, you wake up knowing what you want to do and you're doing it, which makes you feel even better.
Yeah.
So, no, yeah.
I mean, we'd be fake to say we don't wake up on certain days and have stuff that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like, even in getting after what you want, there's certain things that you're going to have to do that you might not want to do. You're going to have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions that hopefully one day won't feel so uncomfortable, or you have to do certain, I don't know, just little things. Like, or nobody wants to wake up and go to a funeral or something. Yeah. Like, obviously there's going to be days like that. Like, you're not going to wake up every day like, I love everything this day holds. But waking up with a sense of, I don't hate what I have going for me. Like, it's not dread, it's not stagnant, it's not, here we go again, it's the same thing every day. Like, knowing, like, when it comes to those little things that are not so fun, like, this too shall pass. But in general, I'm doing things that fuel me, and it lets me fill my cup in a way that I can pour into others and put light into the world that is hard. It's hard. And that's what we strive for. That's wellness, I think, is waking up and knowing, like, I'm about to get after this day. Like, I love how I've set my life up to be who I am. You know what I mean?
So, talking about wellness, do you think your current routine, do you think that's wellness to you? Or what do you think wellness to you would be?
Wellness to me is taking care of myself in a way that benefits me. And that is, like I said before, playing around with what works, what doesn't work, what's not working anymore. And is fueling me in not just a way that makes me feel physically good, but makes me feel mentally good, to where when negativity does creep in and stuff like that, because that's just life, that's real, we find ways to address those things head on instead of ignoring them, letting them build up, letting it become toxic, finding a way to address whatever that is and move through it. Because, you know, again, at some point this will pass. You know, this is life right now, but this is how I'm going to attack that. This is how I'm going to focus on what I can control in that moment. So then you find those things for yourself mentally, finding ways to connect with yourself spiritually, and whatever that may look like for you, whether that's God, some type of higher power, nature, you know, anything that makes you feel like I can take a deep breath, I can get back to me, center. So all the things that benefit you in a way that carries you through life in a way that's ultimately positive. And that's not always easy. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like that's, oh yes, I do this every day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm Gandhi or something. But like, it can be, it's just doing the best you can in that, I think. And that's wellness. Not waking up and just hating your days.
Yeah.
Not waking up and dreading your days. Waking up and knowing there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be, but these are the things that I know I can do to turn it around. I think that's someone who is well.
I like that. As long as you are not comfortable, but happy in your current routine, you're not hating every day that you wake up, that's a good definition of wellness.
Yeah, and letting that be subject to change, like whenever you need it to be. Like, I tried this.
Part,
yeah.
Change.
Yeah. And that's way harder for some people than it is for me. And I think for me, I had to come into the fact that I thrive on change. Like, I didn't know that for a long time. And then I realized, okay, like, you don't have to commit to something, anything, for the rest of your life. whether that be career, whatever. We're raised in a way that's like, you have to go to school for this and then carry it out. And even if you hate it, like just finish strong. And no, you don't. You don't have to live like that on any realm at all. Like if something isn't working anymore that did work for a long time, then it's just not working anymore. That's okay. You know? And obviously be responsible about it depending on whatever the subject is, but let yourself try something else that could work. And if it doesn't, oh well. Like you said, like, oh, I might mess up the two-step or whatever, but find a way that makes it work for you, you know? So don't hop into the crossover, like step one foot and then step the other foot. See what happens.
Yeah, slow it down.
Yes. Slow it down, test it out, play around with it, you know?
Now, you said that you change it up a lot. When people go to your class, are they like, Jay, she going to do something else today? Or can they expect a certain class every day?
I think that I have a vibe for sure. I do like to throw stuff at people though. I ask uncomfortable questions sometimes in the beginning of the class. Like it's not your typical, like I said, it's not your typical like dance fitness class. Like I might make you think about something before the class starts. Like, what am I going to work on this week that I have been avoiding? And then I'll make you go up to one person, fist pump them, and just say one word. Even if you don't feel like sharing your whole tea on like what that is and why you feel that way and stuff like that, but one word that communicates that to someone else. And it's almost like a verbal commitment to yourself, like, I'm gonna address this with myself. So I'm just gonna use like a basic topic, but let's say water.
Okay.
I want to hydrate more. I know that I would feel better if and more times than not, people get deeper with it, whether it's setting boundaries with family members or something like that or whatever. But for lack of not going into all that, we'll just say that it's water. And then you go up to the person before we start class and just fist pump, water, hydration, fist pump. But maybe it is boundaries. Maybe it's something deeper than that. And you just go up to the person, boundaries. Say less. You don't have to do the whole like explaining to a stranger.
I'd be like, what do you mean by that?
Right. But also it's like, we are now planting the seed for you to take this with you this week and do something outside of moving your body. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to do with fitness and health, but you are thinking about it now. You know this is something that you've been avoiding within yourself. And I start the class like that often. And I think people like that.
The fact that they have to process something. No, I mean, it's definitely... It's interesting because, man, if you told me to think about something I'm avoiding, man, school. Then we get to turn it up. Yeah. Right. Nah, I mean, I imagine it would feel good.
Yeah, and I get that. I've been there. And I think sometimes they'll just say something to get through that moment. But at least then if they get in the car and they're like, you know what, no, this is really what but you ask the question, you planted the seed for that, where even if in class they were like, oh, I want to squat deeper or something, but they get in the car and they're like, no, like, I need to tell my sister how I'm really feeling when she talks to me like this. And that's not how they operated in the class, but they got in the car and they're like, no, I've been avoiding this because it feels uncomfortable, but I need to do this for myself.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the gears start turning after okay.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think it is about dancing that brings people together? Because other than sports and, what is it? Yeah, I think other than sports and like other activities that you do where you include people, I think dancing is just like one of those things where everybody can just come together and just interact with each other. Yeah, regardless. Like a community. Yeah. It's a community, and I think what sets Turn Up apart too is you can go deeper in that if you want to. If where you're at is just showing up to a local class in your area, then cool, we have it. Yeah. I guarantee you we have an instructor in your area if that's what you're just trying to play with once or twice a week. But if you want more of that community, more of that empowerment of people who want you to live your life for you, and so that you can wake up and know that you're putting light into the world in ways that make you feel amazing and unapologetically you, and feel supported in that, then you can explore that. And if you want to become a part of all of Turn Up, you can.
But if not, then that's cool. Like, just show up to the classes, like show up and do something for you a couple times a week. It's gonna feel good regardless.
Yeah.
But we just offer that added layer of like, you can have a whole community in this. Like, you don't have to be alone in figuring this out and exploring that for yourself. And we're here to cheer you on through the failures, through the downs, through the ugly parts of it. And we're here to celebrate you when, again, you start to figure out the ways that work for you and find little wins to where you're like, no, like, I'm really creating and becoming the me that I always have felt in here, but for some reason I've just felt held back in letting them come out, you know?
Yeah.
I think we do that too on, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I also, my full-time gig is on the National Suicide Prevention Line, now called 988 or Lifeline. So I work in suicide prevention, and I carry that with me on the line too. Like, the way I speak to my team, the way I speak to people who chat and text in, because that's the part that we do, is the chat and text feature. We don't give advice. We don't tell you what you should be doing. We're there to listen and support you in a way that empowers you to just keep figuring it out. Like, you're taking a whole step by coming in here today and just sharing about whatever it is, whether it be suicide or self-harm or addiction or past trauma or battles that you're having in your family that aren't dangerous, but they weigh on you and you're not able to get through it, and you're just drowning and not being able to figure it out, and you feel so alone in it. We just have empowering conversations that open the door for people to start being like, okay, as long as I'm working to figure it out, I'm doing something. All the answers don't have to come in on a day, like in a moment. Like, figuring it out is the whole part of like everything, I think. And that's what we do on the line too. And it's sweet because I can carry that empowerment in everything that I do. And I'm one of those people who, like, after I get off a really good chat or text, like, I'll be running around the house like, yeah, like chest pump my kid. Like, it's just, it feels good. Like, for people to just have a moment of like, okay, once again, someone saw me.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Or it might not. It might suck for a long time. But you're doing something to at least figure it out, to where one day it might not suck so bad. And then after that, it might not suck even a little less. You know what I mean? Like, it just, that safe space wherever you're at.
Okay. Now, I want to ask about the texting and calling line. Preserve your mental health because I imagine you hear a lot of traumatizing stories, a lot of hard-hitting stories.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure you or like anyone else on the team, they don't kind of fall into like a sadness themselves?
Yeah. Our team specifically is, so since the pandemic, we're all work from home for the most part if you're on chat and text. So we have to take that an extra step further in making sure that our people are taking care of themselves and like you said, protecting your peace. When it comes to certain things, I think you have to meet yourself and be real with yourself on what triggers you. Study what sits with you longer than what doesn't. We are big on debriefing with each other. Our group chat for our team, we are in constant communication all day. We're constantly video calling each other, just, okay, this really bothered me. Being honest with each other, like, this annoyed me. Like, when this person said this, like this, not only did it bother me and it's sitting with me weird, like, I found this person to be annoying. Because on the line, we have to support the chatter. Mm-hmm. The person who came in seeking support, that is what we're there to do. But you could be real with yourself, like, this person is wrong. This person is so wrong. But you have to accept that. You have to meet yourself where you're at on that mentally. A big part of that is communicating with your team, communicating with your supervisors, like, I'm bothered, this person's bothering me, talking about this. And then we can find ways to reflect to this person what they're saying, what they're sharing to us, and still support them in coming to talk about it and taking that step. because, whether someone's coming in and talking about wanting to end their life, or whether they're coming in talking about, I cheated on my partner and now she's leaving and I don't get why she's leaving. She said she was always going to stick by my side and yada, yada. And we're like, we're still there to support the person.
You get those kinds of messages and calls?
Yes. People always need support in literally anything you can think of. So things that might feel small to us, it's not small to them. That's their real life crisis. And that's what we're here to support, regardless of our outside attachments, biases, and feelings on a certain subject. Because maybe that's triggering to me because I've been cheated on in the past, right? Mm-hmm. I've been cheated on. So now I think people who cheat are trash. And my mind immediately is just like, well, you're messed up. Then that's what you get, But that's not what we're here to do on the line. We're here to support whoever it is in their crisis, regardless of how big or small. Because to them, again, that's their reality. So those are things that will stick with you too. It's not just the kids who are being abused and we have to reach out to CPS, or the ones that come to your mind when you think of somebody working on the crisis lines. It's also the little small things, like a teenager who's like, they're the bully, but they're coming on to talk to us about how, well, nobody likes me and blah, blah, blah. Like, these are also things that you know what I mean? Yeah. Those are the ones that will sit with you really heavy too, because you're like, how am I supposed to support this kid that is so irritating? You know what I mean? But it's like, you figure it out, and that's what having a really strong support in your team helps you with, because you can communicate that, and then together we can establish ways to reflect, listen, and support the person in where they're at today, no matter what they took the step to come and talk about it, because they do want different. And that's why they're talking about it. So if it's annoying, whatever. But they obviously want different for themselves, because that's why they came to talk to somebody about it. And maybe they've been shut down by so many others in their lives, like, well, it's on you, you're annoying, you're a bully. So now they're just constantly feeling shut down to where they don't feel empowered to make changes, to do better, because nobody will hear them out because they've just been irritating their whole lives. And that's what we do on the line, is provide them that space no matter where they're at. And yeah, you have ones that are terrifying, a little bit of a trigger warning maybe, but I came into chat, I just took 12 pills and I'm gonna die, and I just wanted to let somebody know that I'm on my way out. And I wanted to tell someone. That's terrifying. That's terrifying, because we have to act immediately. We don't have the time to sit here and try to get your background on what brought you to that today, because you already did it. So those are going to stick, and that's why it's so important. We have debriefing meetings like twice a day. And we just share the real. Like, this was terrifying to me. So I got in contact with Jay, and I was like, listen, they've already taken these and stuff like that, and we have to stay in communication with them while we start to try to figure out, how can we keep this person safe right now? How can we collaborate with them to keep them safe right now?
So I imagine your phone is always on, like,
yes,
it's never on Do Not Disturb.
My phone is often on Do Not Disturb. I'm really big with boundaries.
Okay.
I do have a couple days a week where I'm not working, and then there's like another me where she is on during those days, and then vice versa. On her 2 days off, I'm on, and then we have a couple days that overlap. But we do have work phones. But if my days if I'm not on, that boy is off. Okay. And I'm like, if somebody who maybe had my phone number from before I got the work phone tries to hit me, I literally just don't answer. Like, unless it's a dire need for me to answer them. And even in those moments, I'll more than likely get with the other me and just be like, yo, this is happening. They must not know I'm off. Like,
yeah, figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm big on the D&D.
Okay. I was like, yeah, you must.
But also, that's part of what you asked, like the protecting your peace. There has to be boundaries in anything that is supporting people in mental health. There has to be boundaries. And that's a huge one for me, I think. So that's also how I protect my peace and not let things weigh on me, is by having those set and following through with them, Yeah.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So this might sound like a silly question, but did that one Logic song, like the 1-800, did that drive more people to seek help or like seek counsel?
I think that it was definitely helpful into normalizing almost that it's okay to not be okay. And it's also okay to ask for help. And here is a specific place where you can ask for help. I think now, over the pandemic, now that we've made it even easier, because at this point we can just do away with the 1-800 number. You can literally just call, text, or chat with 988. Like, it's that easy. Just like calling 911, you can literally do it for, and you know, we're working on the branding of that and getting rid of all the signs at railroad crossings and stuff like that have that big giant 1-800 number. Like, it's just 988. Like, hit up 988. It's that easy now. But I think it's cool when people of that influence are like, listen, everyone struggles, everyone battles. And you plant that seed again for letting people know that asking help is not only just okay, but it's a strong thing to do. You should feel empowered to do so, because bottling it up and keeping it inside is not going to get you anywhere. And here's somebody who, you know, kids and adults or whoever, like, you know, people are like, oh, that person's cool, and they're telling me that it's like, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be okay. And that's cool. That's awesome. I do think it was helpful, in short.
Okay.
Yes.
So can you sense if people are promoting it to actually promote it, or like, can you sense that they're just doing it to like kind of do it, but they don't really, like, they're not really behind it?
Like when people are like, I'm not racist, but they're probably racist. Got it. I think honestly, and this might sound so wild, but we'll take any kind of exposure.
Right.
At this point. Like, people need to know that it's that simple to reach out to 988. So your agenda behind it, like, I hope at some point you can work through that or whatever. I'm not really going to sit here and try to decipher that, I guess. Yeah. I guess you might sense some, like, okay, like, is that just like a clout thing? Like, you think that's what you're supposed to be saying, so you're saying it, cool, whatever. But also, I'll take it. Like, tell people that it's this easy now. Like, you don't have to remember that big 1-800 to, you know what I mean? Like, it's just 988. It's helpful, whoever's saying it. And then I think those people know inside where they're really at, and that's something that, yeah, if you ever want to start working through that and you don't know where to go, hit up the line, 988. It's that easy. I mean,
you promote it, use
right, exactly. Okay. So,
yeah,
I think that would be my feelings about that.
As long as they get the word out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because people need it and they don't realize that it's so easy to access. There's so many kids who they are just like, where do I go? What do I do? Like, I can't talk to my parents about this. Like, they don't support me in being trans. They don't, so I can't, I'm going to go into the living room. They're just going to make me cry. They're going to make me feel terrible about myself. I'm going to be such a disappointment. Who do I go to? And knowing that you can just do that from the comfort of your own room. You don't have to go out and seek all this extra. My parents will never support me in getting a therapist. We don't have money for that. This is just a place to be in the meantime of maybe one day being able to implement those other things and stuff like that and find bigger, stronger support systems. But when you have nothing, it's that simple. I mean, we have homeless people that write into the line. They literally have nothing, but they have a phone that they can hook up to the Wi-Fi at McDonald's, and they can text 988 like, listen, I am over living like this. There may be factors that brought me here that I did to myself, but at this point I'm ready for different and I don't know what to do. And then maybe we can work with that person in the middle of nowhere. Like, you actually have a local resource and crisis center 3 miles from you that might help you with food, that might be able to help you and point you in the direction of somewhere to go stay for a little bit while you look for work or while you look for this and that. And they didn't even know those things were options. And they just needed somebody to help them
point them in
seek that out. Yeah. And I'm not here to tell you what to do. Like, this is what you should do. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering if you knew that 0.3 miles from you, there's a building that helps people apply for food stamps. Did you know that? No, I didn't know that. I'm wondering if that's something you might walk to in the next couple days here and try that out. Okay. Well, I guess maybe, and then that's on them to take it from there. Yeah. But at least they know it's there.
So I kind of want to like go a little bit back.
Yeah.
Talking about being an instructor. I'm sorry, I blanked right there. But being an instructor, were there things that you saw from other instructors where you're like, nah, I don't like that? So when you became one, you took that out.
I think in general, we are huge on making it your own. So there's going to be certain things like, okay, for me, that extra feminineness is not me. I'm very much into the swag it out, like, you know what I mean? Like emphasizing that more masculine side of me, but that also has opened my mind up to recognizing that I do like to challenge myself in other areas. But so I might have an instructor friend who's kind of like cheerleader-y, and like that's their vibe. And I love that. I'm so happy that that is what they find joy in and stuff like that. But in seeing that that's how they go about their classes, yes, it does let me say, it almost grants you that permission to make it your own. Like, okay, this is how they do their thing. Okay, then that makes me feel good about the fact that I want to do mine like this. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to do mine like so me that it's like, you know, with that person allowing themselves the permission to be so them, like, that's not how I want to do mine, but now I know I can make it so me in a way that it's going to speak to somebody else that comes in. And maybe it speaks to them in that way, like, okay, I want to go about my life not doing what Jay is doing right now, but instead I want to wear high heels every single day. And you know what I mean? Because Jay wears sneakers every time I see her. You know what I mean? Like, just giving people that extra, like, empowering, like, do it for you. Do it in a way that works for you. So, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, sorry. Working in the hotline, just in general, what would you say, or what advice would you give to people who are just struggling in general?
I think that ways that I would have a conversation with somebody who's struggling in general would be asking questions that maybe other people in their life avoid. Talking about things that aren't so comfortable. Like, chances are they don't have anybody who's doing that with them. And that's why those subjects have been so avoided for them. So, for example, if somebody was battling with finances, that can be a really hard thing to talk about. Because it's like, what are you going to do? You can't tell them anything unless you're willing to Venmo them $200 to help them through the day. You know what I mean? But we're not here to do that. So asking questions like, okay, I'm hearing that this sucks. Whatever your day-to-day right now looks like sucks to the point where it's making you feel this way every single day. So what can you do today to start making small changes in that? And let's talk about that. Let's collab on that together. And then let me be that person that you can lean on when it is hard. Like, okay, so I did what I told you I was gonna do. I started making a list of all the places I owe money. Okay, that was step one. At least you recognized where you want to start taking care of certain things. Okay, so what did you do about that? What did you do about at least one of those things today? Well, damn it, Jay, nothing. Okay. That's enough right there for somebody to be like, you right, I've done nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that can go for like any subject.
Okay.
But it's just it's not telling people what they want to hear all the time. But that's what makes somebody real. That's what makes somebody a real support. Is like asking the questions that sometimes make you have to think like, if I want different, I gotta do different.
Yeah, it's not always just, oh, it's gonna be fine, just take it day by day. It's like, come on, like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Right. If you want different in whatever it is, you have to take action on it. No one else can do it for you. There's people who have been entitled their whole lives. Parents just hand them everything. We get a lot of people like that on the line too, okay? And that, again, we are here to support those people. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, that's not your life anymore. So reflecting that, okay, I'm hearing that that's no longer happening. Daddy's no longer handing you $100 a day. So if you need certain things to be taken care of, it sounds like you're going to have to take action on those things. I'm wondering what that looks like for you. And in that moment, somebody might get real pissed. But at the same time, they'll take that with them. Like, that's right. I have to make the change.
They'll calm down after.
Yeah.
Like, no, she was right.
Yeah, or not. And it might take them a long time to But at some point, they'll either accept that or not. They'll accept the reality that the change in the action is on me. I'm the one that has to take it if I want it to be different. If it sucks right now and I want it to not suck, there's only one answer. I got to do something, right?
No, that's true.
I think that would be my conversation with somebody who's struggling in general. It's just breaking down those things that you got to be blunt about stuff. Like, that's a huge thing on the crisis line too. We're just blunt about suicide. Suicide can be really uncomfortable to talk about. But we will just be like, are you having thoughts of killing yourself today? Well, dang, nobody else ever said it to me like that before.
Yeah, I mean, again, huge props to you and your dream team for working in the crisis line, because I can't imagine how deep it runs. It's
deep, but we love it. It's like that thing that is fueling you in a way that you know you're making a difference. And I think like my team in general, we thrive off that. Like, even when there's hard conversations and stuff like that, like at the end of it, when somebody's like, you know what, I think I will reach back out to you guys next time I am thinking about cutting myself. If that's all we get to at the end of a conversation, we're not here to fix. We're not here to mend and repair everything that's happened to somebody. But if they'll at least take the time next time when they pull out something to hurt themselves with, or think about taking all those pills in the cabinet, or think about going and taking their dad's gun, if they're like, you know what, let me slow down for a second, because last time I felt really good after I talked to that one person on the crisis line. Like, let me just reach back out to them first. If that's all we get, it's a win. Because at least we broke down a little bit of that in between, where they might go right to something and do something really scary. Or even if it's, you know, next time I feel like cussing my mom out, I'm just gonna come to the crisis line instead and have a conversation about why I want to cuss her out real quick. And then maybe I'll just go to bed instead. Maybe I'll just drink some water and go to bed instead. Just not even engage in that. Like, that's a huge win to us. And that's what it's about. It's just empowering that taking action and doing different.
Okay. Now, I kind of want to take it back. Sorry, I'm taking it back.
It's fine.
After, like,
it's fine.
Keep going.
Like, here for the change.
Being an instructor, has anyone ever told you, like, hey, Jay, like, I just want to thank you for introducing me to this class, or for just being a great instructor for me? Has anyone ever, like, pulled you aside and just thank you and just, like, giving you thanks?
Yeah, I think that I've definitely had people that pull me aside and they're like, you don't know how much I needed this. Like, it's just an hour of doing something for me. I've been really down for a long time, and this was just fun to me and gives me something to just look forward to. You know, I don't love my job, but knowing that I get to come here on a Tuesday night after, you know, and just kind of, it carries me through the week knowing that I can then do it again. And it's also, you know, opened me up to even maybe wanting to try out other classes too that I might feel that same way about, so that maybe a couple times a week I get to look forward to cool classes that I'm connecting with and feel good to me. And I love to talk to those people about how it wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. Like, yeah, I held that space. Yeah, I made it fun. Yeah, I'm wild and I while out and I'm twerking in a handstand on the mirror and you thought it was funny. But, like, also you showed up. You came and you tried something new and you just happened to love it. And I love that. And I'm so happy that you did. But you did that. You moved in a way that you let go of self-consciousness, or you looked at yourself in the mirror for 5 seconds today during that hour-long class. And you appreciated the person who showed up and brought you. You stopped staring at your stretch marks and your loose skin from your kids and stuff like that. And you looked at that body and you said, wow, this body carried me to class today and took me through a whole hour of cardio. And I had fun while I was doing it. And then you look away again because you're a little bit self-conscious still, but you're easing into that. Like, you did that, not me.
Yeah.
You know, I just stood on the stage and guided you through the moves. And I think people don't realize that sometimes until somebody says it to them. And then they're like, you know, like, I did do that.
Yeah.
And then that's what brings them back.
No, yeah, I imagine it must feel good, must feel great.
Yeah.
So, Jay, we're rounding the end of the episode. I feel like we could talk for hours, honestly.
I know.
But before we sign off here, anything you want to promote? Instagram, your dance classes, where can they go? How can they sign up?
Yeah.
Let them know.
For sure. First of all, I want to plug one more time, 988, if you know somebody who's having a hard time, and it doesn't have to just be with suicide. A lot of people confuse that the crisis line is specifically for suicide. It's not. It's for somebody who is in a crisis and they need support. 988, it's that simple. Chat from whatever device, 988, go on it, you'll find it. Text it, just like you would text a friend, just text 988. We'll have a conversation with you via text. Plug myself, Instagram, at JAYE_LEIGH90. Again, that's at J_Lee90. Same on TikTok. I would love for you to follow me. So lit. I love everything that this organization is about. Everything that Dr. Brandy and Dr. Joe do is just, even their kids, dude. Yeah. They're just a sweet family, for the love. Go find Little Joe on Instagram. He's out here killing it on live.
Did you see when he went on it was like the dance recital that...
Yes.
Yeah, you saw it? Yeah.
I have an instructor friend. She's also a turn-up instructor. Her name's Riley. She was actually at that event with them, and she had her whole little dance team there, too. She's a younger girl, dance fitness teacher, and so, yeah, dance teacher. So that was really cool to see them all, like, collabing. It was just so cool. But, yeah, he out here with the Mike Jack moves and stuff like that. He's wild.
I saw it live. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's so cool. So yeah, follow me on there. I teach over at Lifetime Rochester Hills in Michigan, Tuesday nights at 6 p.m., but you'll see me around the different Lifetimes in Oakland County. I'm over at Commerce, Bloomfield. I pick up classes whenever I can. So if you want to just pop up, we have guest passes if you just want to try out Lifetime, see what's up. If you're a member, then you can just find me on the app, on the schedule, JAYE. I'm in there tearing it up, turning it up. Join us anytime. So fun. No dance fitness experience needed.
Let them know. All right. Well, that's been this episode of Let's Talk. Jay, again, thank you so much for joining us today.
So happy to be here. Can't wait to have you in class.
I'll make sure to stop by. All right.